Naji Marshall's big night powers the Mavericks to a win over the Wizards in our nation's capital. We'll break it all down coming up next on the DLLS Mavs postgame show. Welcome to the DLLS Mavs postgame show powered by Game Time and Michelob Ultra. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code DLLS for $20 off your first purchase. And Michelob Ultra, official beer sponsor of the NBA. Kevin Gray alongside our DLLS Mavs beat writer Ron Harrod Jr. Shout out to the Prophet Elijah helping us out tonight. We are DLLS Mavs. The Mavericks get their first win of the month of November with a 111-105 victory in our nation's capital over the Washington Wizards. Naji Marshall back home in the DMV area gets him 30 points in 31 minutes off the bench to spark the Mavericks win as they improve to 3-7 on the year, ending their 2-game road trip on the second night of a back-to-back with a win after dropping last night's game to the Memphis Grizzlies. We'll break it all down here for you over the course of the next hour. We appreciate you hanging out with us here on DLLS Sports. Our national NBA insider, Marc Stein, will be joining us a little bit later on in our show as well to get his thoughts and perspective on tonight's win. But we said, Ron, coming into tonight's game, by any means necessary for this Mavericks team, they use 5 guys in double figures to get it done, and they walk out of Washington with a much-needed W tonight.
You know, at some points, it looked like the game was slipping away from the Dallas Mavericks. But then you had a Naji Marshall burst again in the fourth quarter. And P.J. Washington, who was pretty slow through the first 3 quarters, kind of erupted in the fourth for, key block and some key baskets, some key free throws. It was a good fourth quarter comeback for the Dallas Mavericks. And I did see in the comments as well, the Mavs are 2-0 without Bobby Karalla in studio. So I saw
that's the headline.
I saw someone yesterday say, if the Mavs win again, we'll see what happens with Bobby. No, I'm just joking. But the Naji Marshall game and Kevin Gray is a fan of the knife.
We are a pro Naji Marshall show for sure.
Exploded for a 30-piece at home. I heard the broadcast said he had 70 people that came to this game. He wanted to put on the show. And he did in this game. Naji Marshall was getting to the lane, was slashing, made multiple three-pointers. He entered the game with 3 made three-pointers. He leaves the game with 6 now on the season. This is Naji Marshall's best game of the season by far, and I hope the knife can build upon this game.
It's a good night to have our guy Marc Stein on because the knife went off in Washington. A much-needed performance for a team that came in on a 4-game losing streak. Naji Marshall, the second 30-point game of the season, joining D'Angelo Russell as the only 2 Mavericks this year to score at least 30 points in a game for Dallas. In a game where each team, it was a game of runs at times. The Mavericks at one point led by as many as 14. Washington led by as many as 8. We'll get to the turning point of tonight's game coming up in our next segment. But what was your biggest takeaway, your one big thing tonight, Ron, that you took away from the Mavericks being able to get a win on the road against Washington tonight?
For me, which you can read in the post-game recap as well, fast break points in the paint. The Mavericks outscored the Washington Wizards 66-44 in points in the paint, absolutely dominated there. In fast break, they outscored the Washington Wizards 33-11. When the Mavs went on that big 19-0 run, which we thought probably put the game away, but we found out it did not, they had 12 of those points in the fast break. You have to get fast break points because those are kind of those easy points, and the Mavs have a top 6 defense. When you have a top 6 defense, you hope to force turnovers. Turnovers can lead to some easy points. And for an offense that's struggling, you have to find a way to get easy points, and that came in the fast break. And again, just being aggressive, seeing Cooper Flagg get downhill, maybe missing some key highlight dunks that would have made this studio erupt, but just putting pressure on the rim. P.J. Washington having a slow game, but just continuously pressure on the rim. Naji Marshall, the knife, we know he's going to knife through the lane, was getting to the rim. You need points in the paint. You need fast break points. The Mavs did that tonight, and they got to win.
And they did. And with 5 guys in double figures, led by Naji Marshall's 30 points. Big shout out to Brandon Williams tonight. 14 points, was a plus 24 in the 25 minutes that he played, getting into the paint and getting things done in transition. PJ Washington, 4 of 8 tonight. He had 14 points, was a plus 13. Cooper Flagg, 12 points on 15 shots. Hasn't been efficient, but at the same time was able to stuff the stat sheet, not only with the 12 points, had 7 rebounds and 6 assists as well. Yes, the 4 turnovers that he had in this game didn't help, but at the same time, making some plays, especially getting downhill in transition. He had the finish, with the dunk. He had the alley-oop to Daniel Gafford, had a beautiful no-look pass in transition to Max Christie in the corner for a left corner 3 as well. So when Cooper Flagg is getting downhill and making plays, putting pressure on the defense, that is when he is at his very best. Still needs to work on, obviously, being much more consistent with his jumper, but made some things happen in the open floor, which is the most exciting thing to watch about Cooper Flagg, I believe, so far this year. Max Christie, not a great night shooting the ball, just 4-14, but he did have 12 points in this game to go with the other guys in double figures. Meanwhile, for the Washington Wizards, they had 5 guys in double figures, led by CJ McCollum, who had 25 points, had a big first half for Washington.
He had 21 in the first half.
Yeah, he did. Had 21 in the first half. Not a great second half for him. Kent Whitmore had 19 points in the losing effort. Alex Sarr had 17 points for the Washington Wizards. In fact, the only person that didn't score in the starting 5 was Justin Champagnie, who literally went 0 for, didn't take a shot at all.
Had 11 minutes. Very weird starter, but hey.
He used his 4 fouls, though. He has 4 fouls that he used. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to DLLS Sports while you're here. Give the video a like as well as we discuss the Mavericks picking themselves off the map. We said during the pregame show that the bench unit, Ron, had to come to life, and it did in a massive way tonight. 59 of the 111 points that the Mavericks scored came from the bench, led by Naji Marshall. In the first game that these two teams played, the Mavericks were a negative 19 in the bench scoring department. They flipped that on its head. They were a plus 15 tonight. No Anthony Davis, no Klay Thompson, no Derek Lively II once again. And the bench was the ones that were able to really make things happen. Another big shout out to Moussa Cisse as well. His energy and activity was palpable once again. 5 points, a career high, 9 rebounds in the 19 minutes that he played as well, and gave you 3 block shots. Cam Whitmore, I don't know what the hell he was thinking every time he tried to go in the lane against Moussa Cisse, but Cisse wasn't having it with Cam Whitmore coming into the lane. So the bench mob, Ron, really took it to Washington's bench tonight, led by Naji Marshall, Brandon Williams, and Moussa Cisse in particular.
Moussa Cisse is a fun player.
He's a fun player.
I mean, Cam Whitmore's going up for a dunk and just get that out of here. I mean, 2 times Moussa Cisse catches Cam Whitmore thinking he can catch a body under the rim. Well, he sent them back home. Moussa Cisse is a very fun player. Again, we saw some flashes last game. We talked about it. And he followed up again. We talked about it's the drumbeat. It's one game after another game after another game. And your Mavs might have found their 4th big when all their other bigs are healthy. But, when inevitably when somebody's hurt, they can maybe call on him. And maybe he might just have taken Dwight Powell's chain. We'll see. The Mavs legend is still in the squad, but he played more minutes tonight than Dwight Powell. Dwight Powell played 5 minutes. Moussa Cisse played 19 minutes. And I think he showed some burst and some rim protection. But Brandon Williams, again, he was only 6 of 16, but his ability to get downhill is so effective. It just moves the defense. We talked about it multiple times. He has so much speed. He's the fastest player on the team. Even when he's not scoring, it just is shifting the way the defense goes. And also, I think that we learned a valuable lesson. Sometimes you call on a player to be a starter, everybody. And when that player gets in the lineup, they're actually maybe not in the right position. That player tonight was D'Angelo Russell. He only played 17 minutes. He was a minus 18 in those minutes. He had by far the worst plus minus. There was no other Maverick that was even a minus 10 in the game, Kevin Gray. He was minus 18. So that shows you that sometimes in certain situations you can call on a player to be a starter, but their impact might have just been off the bench. So there's probably going to be a lot of people that are going to say Brandon Williams should be a starter. But he might just be better in his role off the bench. That's might where he's the most effective. So before we call on Brandon Williams just to become a starter, let's let him just, again, drumbeat off the bench. Let him build on that. And then maybe eventually he can earn a start. But for right now, he's cooking off the bench.
Yeah, Brandon Williams with the speed, the quickness, and was all over the place. Not only did he have the 14 points, he had 6 assists. He also had 4 steals in this game as well. Active hands for Brandon Williams, making the most of his opportunities in the 25 minutes that he played tonight. Back to Cisse real quick. I said it during the game, and I said it multiple times as he continued to send Cam Whitmore stuff packing every time he tried to come into the lane. Cisse is playing like a first team I can't go back all-star. Like, he has made up in his mind. He is hungry. He is motivated, and he is playing as if he cannot go back. And he played that once again tonight with the energy, the effort, the intensity, the poster that he had on Alex Sarr, one of the more seminal moments of tonight's game. But that kind of energy, fire, and effort was lacking in last night's game. Cisse continuing to earn minutes off the bench for this team with 19 minutes tonight. He changes the air in the room when he gets on the floor because you feel the presence that he has. Still a little bit of a raw player, still figuring things out. But his energy, his effort, his intensity, all those buzzwords that you like to use.
Yeah.
The Mavericks bench could feel that. And every time he made a play, they were jumping out of their seats, excited to see what Cisse was doing. So give him a lot of credit for a fantastic motor that he has and the way that he used it tonight. Because, again, they needed that off the bench as a spark, especially as down they were in the front court for the Mavericks tonight.
I mean, think about it like this, Mavs fans. If Cisse, let's say, is now on this team, then Dwight Powell is getting those minutes. We understand Dwight Powell is that this is not his role anymore on this team. He's this team's, Udonis Haslem type player. You don't really want to see Udonis Haslem getting heavy minutes late in his career. You kind of want him to be the energy guy, the kind of the coach on the bench type of player. So while Dwight Powell's role, as we see, he's probably, if I had to guess, coaching up Cisse in a lot of these matchups. And he had a good game. You need that energy. You need that Dwight Powell off the bench to kind of help these younger bigs. And clearly his impact is being shown even in a game where he's not playing, over 10 minutes. So I think kind of seeing that we saw was a big difference for the Mavericks. And Naji Marshall just gave this team juice. I mean, Naji Marshall was running the floor. He looked gassed in some of the moments. I saw him holding his head. You could just see he was giving it his all. He was trying to prove a point that he can have a big game. I mean, the knife, 30 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, over 60% from the field, the 3-point shots, the steals. He did a little bit of everything for a team that just needed a guy to have a standout performance. And again, with PJ Washington, he's been one of the most consistent players, if not the most consistent Maverick this season. And again, he struggles through 3 quarters, everybody. But you just have to stay through it. And eventually in the fourth quarter, your time comes, and he has a big fourth quarter. And without that fourth quarter, the Mavericks probably don't come back and win this game. You need some of these players to make big plays and big moments, and these Mavericks were able to do it. Max Christie didn't have his best shooting game. I thought he was pretty good on the ball as a defender. They essentially, every time Max Christie was on one of the top defenders, they had to screen him off. Keyshawn George had over 30 points. I think it was 34 the last time that they played the Dallas Mavericks. He had 10 points tonight. That was Max Christie's assignment. He was on C.J. McCollum in the second half a lot. C.J. McCollum only scored 4 points in the second half. Max Christie might didn't shoot the ball with everybody, but he's still probably your best point of attack defender.
And they got a lot of contributions from a lot of different guys tonight. A team win, despite the way that this team came in tonight. They were able to pick themselves up off the mat and find a way to get it done. And going into this game on Monday, hopefully the team will get healthy. Anthony Davis came into tonight's game questionable with that left calf strain, ultimately ruled out as the Mavericks continue to exercise extreme caution with the big man. Daniel Gafford came into tonight's game questionable with the right ankle sprain. He was able to give it a go. He gave you everything that he had. He was 4 of 5 from the field, 18 and a half minutes in tonight's game with 8 points, had 5 rebounds, had a couple of block shots as well. He is playing through pain with that right ankle sprain and was able to give you what he was capable of giving you tonight with the minutes and energy that he was able to provide. And hopefully, as the Mavericks get ready to start a 4-game homestand on Monday, they start to figure out and put some things together a little bit as they get healthy. But at the same time, they needed this. No matter how you feel about whether or not they should be tanking or not, you could tell the energy off that bench was something that they needed to have this to feel good about coming back home, because if they had came back home on Monday, having gotten swept in the season series by the Washington Wizards on a 5-game losing streak, the vibes are going to get ugly inside the American Airlines Center on Monday. Now, can they put it together against Giannis and the Bucks on Monday night? They'll have a day to figure that out before they get back on the floor at the AAC to start yet another homestand during this early portion of the year. But the Mavs improved to 3-7 after their first 10 games with tonight's win. Let's take our first break here on the DLLS Mavs postgame show. When we come back, we'll be joined by our national NBA insider, Marc Stein, get his thoughts and perspective on tonight's game and more on what was the turning point in the fourth quarter for your Dallas Mavericks. All that and more coming up next. But first, this episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season with Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. All you have to do with Prize Picks is simple. Pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. If your picks are right, you could cash in. In fact, it's also the best way to get action in more than 40 plus states, including California, Texas, and Georgia. They've even got the flex play, which our guy Bobby Curla loves to use a lot, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. In fact, you can make your picks in less than 60 seconds and takes you into cash all season long with Prize Picks. So with Prize Picks, download the app today and use code DLLS to get $50 in lineups after your first $5 lineup. That's code DLLS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. With Prize Picks, it's good to be right. And with that money that you win from Prize Picks, you can get yourself a nice pair of Shady Rays. You know that moment when you realize you left your favorite pair of sunglasses on the beach or on the roof of your car or at a gas station 3 states away? Well, we've been there too. But Shady Rays has you covered with the best custom eyewear protection in the game today. With Shady Rays, they found that you could change the game with the sunglasses that are made for real life. Seriously good looking, polarized, durable, and not stupidly expensive either. So now you can actually wear your sunglasses and feel good without fear on hikes, at concerts, or on the boat, or wherever. We've teamed up with Shady Rays to bring you an exclusive offer. Head to shadyrays.com and use code DLLS35 for 35% off your polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Again, head to shadyrays.com. Use code DLLS35 for 35% off your polarized sunglasses with Shady Rays today. Appreciate all of you hanging out with us here on the DLLS Mavs postgame show. Shout out to the over 200 of you watching us live here. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to DLLS Sports and join the over 35,400 subscribers here with us here at DLLS as the Mavericks get it done on the road tonight, 111-105, outscoring the Wizards 29-19 in the fourth quarter to be able to get it done behind Naji Marshall's 30 points in 31 minutes off the bench. Let's bring in our national NBA insider. You can always dial up the Stein line at the Stein line. He, of course, is our guy, Marc Stein. Marc, what's going on? We're doing muted? Well. He can you hear us?
I got you.
There we go. There we go. We got you. We got you. There we go.
How are you guys? Well, I saw Elijah brought me in and then kicked me out.
Yeah. He just wanted you to know that you can get your pair of Shady Rays with 35% off with code DLLS35. That's all. He just wanted to make sure that you knew.
I was listening. I was listening even when I wasn't being shown. I was listening.
Mavericks get a much needed W tonight. They squeak out a win in our nation's capital, 111-105, to improve, quote unquote, to 3-7 on the year. Your thoughts on what you saw tonight?
It was a game of chaos.
Yes.
The good news for the Mavs is that Naji Marshall thrives in a game of chaos, and you know, this is the Naji Marshall I frankly have been waiting to see, because I wanted to see, could he be an option to step into, you know, he's not a point guard, but he has been deployed as a point guard in the past. And, you know, could he be an option to step into the starting lineup? But, I mean, he functioned really well off the bench in this game. And, you know, he was really the swing factor in this game. And, you know, I also have to say, though, it's like my good friend Chris Mannix from Sports Illustrated, I saw him tweet after last night that must-win game for Dallas going to Washington at 2-7. Can you believe how many must-win games we've been talking about and have circled 10 games into the season? I mean,
It's bad.
the first Washington game was a must-win. The Indiana game at home when they didn't have half their team, that was a must-win. They only went 1-1 in those games. Tonight was another. I guess they're 2-1 in must-win games. Am I leaving any out? Maybe chat will remind me. There might have been another must-win game that I don't. I mean, it's just, yeah, the pressure that they have heaped upon themselves at this early stage of the season, and a lot of it's because of the schedule. They come home now for 4 more in a row, 13 of 18 to start the season at the AAC. And then you had the neutral site game in Mexico City, which is a home game that gets scratched off the regular list. But they got a win tonight that they needed. I don't know that I can put any prettier words or any prettier metaphorical bow on it than that.
Yeah, I mean, the Mavericks came into tonight a 4.5-point favorites against the Washington Wizards. And for a while there, as we kind of look at what the turning point was in this game, I mean, in a game of runs, the Mavericks at one point led by 14. The Wizards, as we fast forward to the fourth quarter, with just over 9 minutes left, they were leading 94-87 and seemingly starting to take control of this basketball game. But as you look at what happened,
yeah, I cannot lie that I was starting to imagine what the mood of this show would be if that 7-point lead expanded to 10, 12, 14. But the Mavs, they got themselves together. I saw Naji Marshall speaking post-game. Christian Clark just tweeted saying that, the Mavs, according to Naji, have been in their own heads, and that's a big problem here. And tonight they just played. I do think that's a little easier to do on the road right now, honestly, than at home because of the mood at home. But it's like, they got to fly back now, and Monday night, Milwaukee's in here, and Giannis is in here, and I'm eager to see what that scene is going to be like. That's all I can say.
Yeah,
I think we will all be in attendance Monday night, right?
For sure.
And that home game vibe, last night I was in Los Angeles in a faraway TV studio, and I could feel the fury of Mavs Nation from 1,500 miles away.
Yeah, we'll definitely get to that a little bit later on in the show because your man Dirk Nowitzki had some very poignant things to say about the start of the Mavericks after last night's NBA action about what a disaster start this has been and what this team has not been able to do on the floor. But we'll definitely touch on that a little bit later on. But the Mavericks used what was outscoring the Wizards 24-11 in the final 9 minutes and 16 seconds of this game after the Wizards had got up 94-87. And we saw some of the turnover issues at times in the fourth quarter, but the Mavericks were the ones to be able to make enough plays down the stretch. And the Wizards simply were the Wizards at times in that fourth quarter. And the Mavericks, Ron, took advantage of it based off of what they had to do tonight.
Yeah, I think before the game, we said they just have to win this game.
By any means necessary.
By any means necessary. You cannot get swept by the Washington Wizards, who I'm not even sure are trying to win games. Their goal is, hey, I want to see flashes from our young players. That's the goal of the Wizards this season. So when you come into a game, you can't get swept by a team that their goal is basically to see their young players eat, like Alex Sarr, like Keyshawn George. The Mavs are trying to make the playoffs. The goal of the Mavericks are to win basketball games. They had to win this game in D.C. They went in there. They did it. It looked shaky at times, but again, we said P.J. Washington, again, who had 10 boards, by the way. He led this team in rebounds. Another double-double for P.J. Washington. He also had 5 assists. He had 2 stocks. You need players to kind of do a lot of different things in these kind of games, and they did that.
And did you see our guy? Did you guys see that our guy Nick Van Exit from Locked On Mavs tweeted after the game? Since the year 2000, so basically the 21st century, only 26 of the 180 NBA teams in that in the past basically quarter century have made the playoffs after a 3-7 start.
Yeah, I know Bobby
So,
has similar stat.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that's what I mean. I feel like we've been talking about it for a month, but with good reason. 5 games in a row to start the season, 13 out of 18 at home. They so needed a good start, and they have just, again, injuries are obviously a factor here, but they're in more of a hole than we anticipated. Never should have lost to Washington at home under any circumstances. I'm sorry. And they did have Anthony Davis for that game.
They did.
Anthony Davis was in the midst of starting, and Lively. Anthony Davis was in the midst of starting the season with four straight 20-10s, which no Mavericks player had ever done before in franchise history. They lost that game. They should have lost the Indiana game. They were lucky to escape. So, I mean, this week coming up is huge. Absolutely huge. And look, like I said, we're all going to be there. I think we're all eager to see. But honestly, to me, if we're just talking about tonight, like obviously this team's been on the road here for the last few days. I myself have been on the road for the last few days, but I was glad to see excuse me, I was glad to see that they held Anthony Davis out. When he was moved to questionable earlier today, I just felt like it's too soon. I mean, it's a calf strain. I don't care how low grade it is. That gets your attention when you see that on the injury report after bilateral Achilles tendinopathy. So again, I am not a doctor, much to my family's dismay, because they all wanted me to be a doctor, not a sports writer. But I'm playing it. I'm taking more time if I'm the Mavericks.
And look, you started to mention it. I mean, another critical stretch for this team. 7 of their next 8 games are at the American Airlines Center. I mean, you got a 4-game home.
Can you read them off, please? Read them off.
Yeah, the first 4 starting on Monday, you got Milwaukee on Monday. Wednesday, you got Phoenix. Friday, another NBA Cup game with the Los Angeles Clippers coming to town. And then on Sunday, you take on a Portland Trailblazers team on the first night of a back-to-back. Then you go on the road to take on Minnesota on Monday, and then come back for games on Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday against the Knicks, the Pelicans, and the Grizzlies. So you've got 2 back-to-backs in there on that Sunday and Monday, the 16th and 17th with Portland and Minnesota, Portland here in Dallas, and then Minnesota on the road. And then that Friday and Saturday, home back-to-backs against the New Orleans Pelicans and the Memphis Grizzlies. So 7 of your next 8 games are at the AAC. Again, you started to mention it. You know, they're paying a significant price for the way that they have started this season, because they end the season with 15 of their last 18 games on the road. So the further and further you dig your hole right now, the harder it's going to be to climb out of, even when Kyrie Irving does come back. So
15 out of 18 on the road to finish. That is just brutal. That is pain. But it's like I don't even want to do projections, because before the 5-game homestand to start, I think we were saying they got to be 3-2 at worst. I mean, they should be 4-1. How did that turn out?
Yeah, we know how it turned out. It turned out horribly for this team, and now they have got to be able to take advantage of what they can. Someone threw it in the chat. It's like, look, enjoy this win, because I don't know when the next one's coming. I'm sure they will enjoy this one tonight on the flight back to Dallas. But yeah, you got Giannis and Charlie Saturday's Milwaukee Bucks waiting to come to town on Monday before Devin Booker and the Phoenix Suns come in.
Has Charlie Saturday left? I haven't seen Charlie Saturday in chat for a while. Is he over us?
He's been in there a couple times. Not in here tonight, but he's been in a couple times so far this year. But yeah, this is a portion of the schedule where you're going to be facing a lot of difficult opponents. And even then, after you get done with that 7 of 8 game stretch at home, you're then on the road for what is a 4-game road trip that includes the Miami Heat, the Los Angeles Lakers, the Los Angeles Clippers on the second night of a back-to-back on Black Friday, and then that Saturday. And then on Monday, you take on Adam Mares's Denver Nuggets in Denver. So the road is about to get a lot more difficult for this team, and health is going to be at the top of the priority list for the Mavericks, because if they don't get healthy relatively quickly, it could get ugly rather fast, given the way that they have started off this season. A 3-7 start after 10 games is not what the doctor ordered based off of what the schedule has put out there. Let's take our next break here on the DLLS Mavs postgame show. When we come back, more with our national NBA insider, Marc Stein, as the Mavericks find a way to get it done on the road tonight over Washington, 111-105. More on the key game from Naji Marshall to get tonight's game done.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. It's one thing to support long-term growth. It's another to go out and celebrate it. Thanks to all the amazing Dallas Stars fans who embrace long-term growth in all its featured glory. And thank you all for coming out. All the pictures and the videos were amazing with the hats and all the mullets. It was great to see. So our Main Street branch pop-up event was the ultimate celebration of PNC's reliable, responsible approach to long-term financial planning, told through the lens of another amazing long-term investment, Epic Hockey Hair. Again, thank you all for coming out. At the Main Street branch, fans had the chance to pick up their own Dallas Stars hockey hair, a limited edition Stars hat with Epic Hockey Hair coming out the back. It was a reminder that the best things, whether it's a legendary flow or a strong financial plan, come to those who are patient and committed to the long run.
Let me talk to you about Qualys Roofing when it comes to reputation and trust, residential, commercial services, local experience, and no high-pressure tactics. Qualys Roofing has you covered. With over 700 five-star reviews and an average rating of 4.9, Qualys Roofing is one of the most trusted names in roofing across North Texas and Austin. Homeowners and business owners alike consistently praise Qualys for their honesty, follow-through, and quality workmanship as well. Whether it's your home or your business, Qualys Roofing has you covered. Literally, they specialize in both residential and commercial roofing projects as well. They're local and they're experienced, and they have no high-pressure tactics. They're based right here in North Texas. Qualys isn't some storm-chasing fly-by-night crew. They're local, experienced, and committed to doing things the right way, and committed to it with no pressure and no gimmicks, just honest assessments and quality work. They've got unique giveaways as well. You can schedule a free home roof inspection and you get a free DLLS shirt. That's right. If you schedule a free roof inspection, you will get a free DLLS shirt. If you replace your roof with Qualys Roofing and choose between a free Blackstone grill, Traeger smoker, and you'll have the opportunity to participate when it comes to Qualys Roofing. Call or go online to schedule your free roof inspection, and don't forget to ask about your free grill as well. Visit QualisGC.com or just search Qualys Roofing and Construction. That's QUALIS, or call 817-500-9008 and get started with Qualys Roofing today. Appreciate all of you hanging out with us here on the DLLS Mavs postgame show. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to DLLS Sports while you're here, as the Mavericks conclude their quick 2-game road trip on the second night of a back-to-back with a win over the Washington Wizards, 111-105, as we bring back in our national NBA insider, Marc Stein, here on our show, as the Mavericks improve, quote-unquote, to 3-7 on the year. Mark,
you keep saying that. You keep saying, quote-unquote, improve.
I mean, they played 10 games and won 3 of them. Like, let's not sugarcoat, what this is. This has been a horrendous start for a team that barely covered against the Washington Wizards on the road. I mean, I don't care if
disastrous, some would say.
Yeah, like for sure, exactly. I mean, I don't care if you're missing an Anthony Davis, Klay Thompson, Derek Lively. I mean, you did what you had to. This is what we call in the business a professional win. You handled your business. You got it done on the road. Now you come home where the real competition begins with Milwaukee on Monday. So, yes, we celebrate a win because it's hard to get these in this league. They play 82 games, and it's hard to get wins in this league. So you never apologize for a win in the NBA. But at the same time, at least for me, Ron, the vibe hasn't necessarily changed. I mean, if you had lost this game tonight, it is apoplectic for DLLS Mavs Nation and MFFLs all over the place, because you simply could not lose this game. But it doesn't necessarily change the vibe for me about what this team is currently right now until they beat some better teams and get healthy in order to do it on a more consistent basis.
But On this show, we've talked about the drum beat. The Mavs look, it's an old coaching ad. You have to take it one game at a time. They literally have to do that. So even though it's the Washington Wizards, who are probably the worst team in the NBA, you had to get the win. They got the win. Now you can move on and build upon that. Now you end your 4-game losing streak. Now you can try to go on a 2-game winning streak. It's just adding those little things to flip the narrative. Naji Marshall, again, we watched on the post-game show, he was talking about, hey, the energy was kind of down. It wasn't just us joking about the Marvin's room in here and the song and how the players were giving short answers. It wasn't just us speculating. Now we know that clearly the vibes were a little off.
And they were in their own heads.
They were in their own heads. And, when you're losing 4 straight games and you think you're better than some of those teams possibly, then you have a chance to get in your own head. I mean, Naji Marshall could not hit a 3 coming to this game. He made 3 tonight. Like, those kind of things change the feeling that you have for yourself as a player. Confidence is a very real thing for sports players. I know we think these guys make a lot of money and they shouldn't have to rely on stuff like that. But at the end of the day,
how bad is it? How bad is it that I don't know the lyrics to that song, so I don't know what it means.
Don't worry about it. It's fine. It's fine.
Kevin Gray's time draked up.
I know everybody's talking about that song says so much, and I'm just like, I'm so lost.
Yeah.
Do yourself a favor this weekend. I'm going to give you a little homework.
Yeah, please.
Look up the lyrics to Marvin's Room, and then I want you to give us a book report on Monday, okay? And let us know what you surmise.
It's a good idea because I am. It's all going over my head.
It's okay. It's okay. Don't worry about it. You look up the lyrics and you bring that to us, and we'll go from there. Let's get to some of your super chats on this Saturday night. Matt Culp with the $4.99 super chat. Too much to ask kid to get up, pull his hands out of his pockets to stand up for his guys. Cooper Flagg and Naji Marshall decked over and over, and he barely gets up off the bench. End quote. The physicality at times in this game was there. You saw multiple basket interference calls, multiple goaltends on both sides that were missed and called and not called. Like, it was a sloppy game for everybody. Mavs, Wizards, referees. Like, wasn't a great game overall for any of the 3 parties involved in tonight's game.
And I think we knew it was going to be like that going in.
Yeah.
Was anybody expecting a classic? An
no.
instant classic?
No,
we were not.
No, we were not.
No, we were not. And GM Ben Stein will not read the lyrics of Marvin's Room on Monday's postgame show because you still want him to work here. So he will not read those lyrics. He'll just give us the book report. But at the same time, we weren't expecting, beautiful offensive basketball from 2 of the worst offenses in the league. I mean, it was, get your slingshots ready. There's going to be a lot of rocks thrown in tonight's game. And at times, that's exactly what we got here. But nonetheless,
I mean, look, I have not been to a Mavericks road game yet this season, but at home games where I sit in pretty, knock on wood, I am spoiled. I get to sit pretty close to the court. I feel like Jason Kidd is halfway. He's on the court. He's been coaching so, with so many gestures and so like trying to will these guys into the right spots and right places because so often they're without a point guard. So again, I'm not clear exactly on the stuff reference about tonight's game, but I mean, from at the games I've been at in person, he's been quite active on the sideline to me.
Yeah, I mean, I think Jason Kidd is like literally pulled out all the stops, everybody. Like, I don't know what other lineup change, what other minute change could like happen. He's tried everything. Every player has played. They've changed the starting lineup multiple times. Again, he's yelling, he's sitting down, he's trying this. D'Lo's in the starting lineup, he's out. Clay's here, Clay's getting heavy minutes, then he's not. I don't know how much more Jason Kidd can do. This is kind of the team he has.
This is the roster he has. This is the group that he's got to go with right now until they get fully healthy. Yeah. You just hope that they find ways to get victories as they manage the health of Anthony Davis, Derek Lively II, and others, because that's what it's going to have to be, which is managing all of this, including Dante Exum's right knee.
I do agree with our king in the chat that Cooper Flagg did not get a very favorable whistle tonight, and for the first time, I think we really saw some of his frustrations, but he, played through it, and yeah. I feel for him, man.
Jason
Not
Kidd about that in a post game before, and Kidd said he's a rookie. He shouldn't be looking for calls. I mean, that's what the coach said. That's what the coach said. So, I mean, and to be fair, I think a lot of coaches feel like that. If you're a young player, you just need to play the game. Like, they don't want the young players doing the foul baiting thing or trying to, get foul calls. They want young players to just play within the offense and do what they can. And kind of, if they get the call, they get it. If they don't, they don't. Stein, I know you could speak to that.
Look, I'm just focused on him right now, and I feel for him because he's probably suffered as much as anyone in this bad start because, again, the one thing that we all thought coming in this season, no matter, we knew there was tons of uncertainty surrounding when are we going to see Kyrie Irving, AD's health, Lively's health, whatever else you want to throw, but everybody, Cooper Flagg is going to be Rookie of the Year. He's going to sail to Rookie of the Year. He's on a veteran team. He can ease his way into the NBA. The pressure's off. I mean, the pressure's not off him. I mean, this whole team is under so much pressure. So, again, he found a way to play through it, have an impact. 12, 6, and 6. I mean, that's not gonna, that's not gonna jump off the page wildly, but he played his part in. Again, we're saying this a must-win game before Thanksgiving.
I mean, he looked his best tonight when he was getting downhill. We've said this multiple times on this show. When he is out in the open floor, he is an absolute freight train. I mean, the beautiful no-look pass he had in transition to Max Christie in the corner for a three. Nice alley-oop pass to Daniel Gafford for a dunk. His ability to finish in transition. You saw the highlight reel dunk in the first half that he had. That is when Cooper Flagg is at his best, when he's playing under control, putting pressure on defenses, getting downhill. We're seeing him finishing more and more with his left hand over these last few games as well. Those are the kinds of things that you can get excited about as his shot continues to get better. Obviously, he has struggled shooting the ball to start off with from the field, but when he is in the open floor, look out, because there is very few players that are exciting in the open floor at this stage in their career as a rookie than Cooper Flagg. And that, to me, is what I'll be most fun to watch about him throughout the years, that every time he gets out in the break, look out because it's going to be something. It's going to be fireworks for him when he gets to the rim in the open floor there.
Yeah, I think Flagg as a rookie is probably closer to like a Scotty Barnes type player than I probably thought entering the league. Like Scotty Barnes, at one point, Toronto was using him like a true kind of point forward. Then they learned, wait a minute, he's not amazing exactly at all that stuff. But if we do that stuff in the half court with him running downhill, he's one of the best play finishers in the NBA. I think we've learned that Cooper Flagg, at least as a rookie, is more of that skill set than maybe a lot of people thought. And that can get you, I mean, Scotty Barnes, stuffs the stat sheet on a night-to-night basis. You just have to put these type of players in a certain role and they'll thrive. And eventually Cooper Flagg will learn, as we've seen, he makes a ton of good reads in the half court. He's going to keep adding more and more things to his bag, more and more things to his game. And hopefully eventually, or maybe he can win the Rookie of the Year. It's a long season. We will see what happens.
Definitely is a long season. And when the Mavericks are able to get the kind of bench production that they got tonight, we mentioned it, 59 points from the bench tonight, outscoring the Washington Wizards bench by plus 15, controlled the turnovers. They had 21 turnovers in the first matchup that they had against Washington, only 13 tonight. And the Mavericks took advantage of the Washington turnovers. Washington had 18 tonight, and the Mavericks scored 23 points off the 18 giveaways from the Wizards. So when you're taking care of the ball, taking advantage of the other team's mistakes, you can overcome a night where you shoot 25% from the three-point line, which I don't know how that gets corrected. It's simply you just got to make them, because they are getting crushed from the three-point line night in and night out. I mean, tonight, the reason why the Wizards were able to stay in this game quite a bit, I mean, they go, 33? They score 33 points on the three-point line to the Mavericks 18, so you're a negative 15 from the three-point line tonight once again. So shooting 25% from three, not going to cut it. But this team has been poor shooting the three ball all season long.
And they didn't get torched by George, which was nice.
Great. And he fouled out.
He did. Yeah, he was He was awful tonight. I mean, 3 of 9, 10 points, was a -1 in 28 minutes and fouled out in tonight's game. Not great from him at all. Stein, you got one more in you, or are we saying goodbye to you now?
I will stay. Sure, I'll stay.
All right. Well, let's do it. Let's finish up our show by dialing up the Stein line. Our guy, Marc Stein, had some fantastic travels this week. And what's the latest when it comes to the Mavericks moving forward, especially with their injury situation? And we'll take a quick look around the association. All that and more coming up next. But first, we want you to become part of our DLLS Sports family. The easiest way that you can do that is to hit the like button on this post-game show that you're watching right now. And then after you do that, you can subscribe to DLLS Sports and join the over 35,400 subscribers already here and part of our family. And once you do that, you can either scan the QR code. Well, before that, you can join the Supporters Club as well. True sicko level stuff for the real ones here. You can unlock some amazing badges when it comes to becoming a supporter club member here at DLLS Sports. Shout out to our guy, Sports Guy T.O., who's always gifting memberships for our supporters club. So if you haven't already, do that right now, and you can take your membership with DLLS Sports to the next level. And you can also do it by visiting alldlls.com to become a diehard member as well. Click that diehard tab, and you can get access to our member-only Discord. You get a free T-shirt as well. If you're watching us live here, you can scan that QR code that you see on your screen right now, and you can get access to our premium content from our guy, Ron Harrod Jr., covering the Dallas Mavericks, Sam Nestler and Sean Shapiro covering your Dallas Stars, who got a big win tonight on the road over the Nashville Predators, taking care of business, getting a big 2 points for your Dallas Stars tonight. And also Jeff Wilson covering your Texas Rangers. He's been all over it when it comes to the coaching changes for your Texas Rangers this offseason. What kind of move could they make to improve this roster? And, of course, Clarence E. Hill Jr. and Ali Jawad covering your Dallas Cowboys as they are off this week and get ready for a big Monday Night Football game next week in Sin City against the Las Vegas Raiders. Again, alldlls.com. Experience the tremendous benefits, or bennies, as our guy Bobby would like to say.
Bennies.
That's right. Around here at DLLS Sports. Again, alldlls.com to become a diehard member today. Y'all need to relax with the whole extend Nico
Off the plank.
Yeah, y'all gotta. Yeah,
SpongeBob reference.
Y'all doing too much. As we finish up here on our post game show, Mavericks.
Where is Bobby?
He's off tonight. He is with family tonight, so he'll be back with us on Monday. And in fact, actually, he might not be back on Monday. You know why? Because the Mavericks won.
The Mavs are 2-0 without Bobby Carella.
They're 2-0 and Bobby isn't here. So
That's a confirmed stat.
It
real?
is. It is. It is very real. So we might have to keep him away from the show on Monday.
Hey, want to know with Elijah? What does that mean for Tanner?
Let's not do that.
Elijah said, "Let's not do that. Let's not do that." Shout out to our guy Tanner. He's enjoying some well-earned time off with friends and family as
he's
well.
Probably got him something nice by the beach.
Yeah, he's kicking and having a good time. Let's finish up here on our postgame show. Mavericks win 111-105 on the road over the Washington Wizards to split their season series at 1 game apiece. Last time they will play the Washington Wizards this season. Let's dial up the Stein line to finish up here with our National NBA insider, Marc Stein, fresh off his travels from sunny Los Angeles, California, hanging out with his Amazon Prime Video buddies. Before we get into anything around the association with the Mavericks, what did you think of the digs in Los Angeles?
Oh, man, it's so nice.
Yeah.
Just ridiculous. The studios are like just so amazing. So they're just state of the art, massive, like 4 or 5 different sets, and I had a blast. Like, just to be able to hang out all night with UD and Blake and obviously Dirk and Nash and Taylor, and then all the support staff and the research team, and just watching games with all of them was a blast. And and it is to see Dirk and Nash together again, like 25 years later, maybe even a little longer. I guess they became teammates, in the 98-99 season. So it's like to see them in this capacity. Yeah,
Shout
I
out
was
to
I was a lucky kid last night.
for sure. Shout out to half_Ginger who became a diehard last week. Shout out to you. Thank you so much for joining us here and becoming part of our DLLS sports family.
Sir.
I see a super chat in the house.
It is Clay Moore with the $5 super chat.
I actually set it up today that I can actually set it up today so I can monitor chat while we're talking. I figured that was a good idea.
Would you like to read the super chat from Claymore there?
Mark or Kevin, how long can Nico last if Mavs don't improve? That's the question everyone around the NBA is asking. I mean, we don't have a firm answer, but the heat has been dialed up. I mean, I feel like we are back to February or April. I mean, that's really how it feels. That's the level of fan dismay. And again, this team has not been whole. That's obviously true. Injuries are a factor, but these injuries we've anticipated. We knew Kyrie Irving wasn't going to be starting the season. Anthony Davis was forced to have eye surgery in the summer to repair a detached retina that kept him on the shelf for 4 or 5 weeks from doing anything. So you're dealing with that before we even get to the injuries that have developed since the start of the season. So we knew this team was going to be banged up. But look, I thought this was going to be a 500 team this year. And the offense has been unwatchable. Even in a win like tonight, it's still an absolute slog. And yeah, like I am so curious what the mood will be like Monday night. It was already a game that, I was going to make sure that I get home for, and I hope that the current state of the aviation system doesn't get in the way of that, because I do not want to miss 1 second of Giannis making his only visit to Dallas all season. But again, just what is the mood gonna be like? Because yeah, in all jokes aside, in the most serious tone we can muster, a 6-point come from behind win over Washington does not really change the overall tenor of where this team is.
No, not at all. And Charlie must have heard you asking for him to come into the chat because he is here.
He is?
Yes, he is. Shout out to Charlie Saturday. Hell yeah, that's beautiful. Congrats, Mr. Stein, talking about your travels and seeing the Amazon Prime Studios in Los Angeles. But yeah, the injury situation continues to be a big point of discussion. Anthony Davis missed his 5th straight game with that left calf strain. Jason Kidd saying that hopefully Derek Lively will be back this coming week. Daniel Gafford continuing to play through right ankle soreness and sprain. Klay Thompson missed tonight's game with an illness.
Musa Cisse, what a godsend he has been. He was fantastic in both of these games this weekend. And
he was
bringing in energy, and they need more of it.
Yeah, tonight a career high 9 rebounds in what was the 19 minutes that he played. He gave him a spark off the bench last night against Memphis. As I dubbed him earlier, he's a first team can't go back all-star. He plays like a guy that realizes his opportunity and is taking full advantage of it going forward for this team with the opportunities that he does get. As we look forward to this upcoming week, what's the optimism, if any, around the situations with, you mentioned that Davis has been getting on-court work as he continues to ramp up to get back on the floor. He clearly
wants to play. And to me, the start, again, it's always dangerous to try to play doctor because none of us are doctors. No matter how long I've covered the league, I'm still, I am not a medical expert. I've written about injuries for 30 odd years now, but that does not make me a qualified medical professional. But just as a long time observer of the NBA, the way this season has started, everything that Anthony Davis has been through since he's become a Maverick, including the eye thing, which look, he's wearing goggles now. He seemed to have adjusted to them well. He's dealt with that. He's coped with that. He's playing through it. So it's like, maybe I'm the only one who keeps worrying about that. But like, given his injury history and how poorly they've started this season, like I want to apply caution here if I'm the Mavericks. That's what I like. I'm taking it as slow as possible because again, we all had the same reaction in the office when AD first showed up on the injury report with bilateral Achilles tendinopathy from nowhere, and yet in parentheses it says probable. Like right from there, it just was eye-raising, and then he injures himself less than 7 minutes in that Indiana game. It was just like, man. That was all we needed to see. Like, don't rush back for this.
Yeah,
That's again, that is
tough.
That is purely my take. That is just what I think, for whatever that's worth.
TL with the $9.99 super chat. Mark, King, or KG, how much can the Mavs improve once they fire Nico? His removal will lift a cloud over the entire franchise. Could they get a GM in time to offload players and start a proper rebuild? That is a hella loaded question.
Well,
from my guy TL. Thank you for so much for the super chat.
Yeah, I think Mark, I would ask the question, I guess, to make the question a little bit easier. Are there any other situations in the NBA that you can remember where a GM was fired mid-season and they were able to pivot off?
Look, these things do last season, remember what we saw where you saw both, and now it was a lot later in the season, but we saw Memphis heading for the playoffs fire Taylor Jenkins with 9 games to go. Then we saw Denver with 3 games to go fire both the coach and GM, and you never see teams that are in a 50-win range headed for the playoffs make coaching changes that late. So, you wouldn't. It's the NBA, so it's possible that anything can happen. But let's, I know that there's many people who want change. Let's say you get your wish and change happens. There will be a short-term euphoria, but yeah, like who would be the long-term replacement? There is no way the Mavs have that pinpointed. I think if that scenario came to pass, who would even be how would they approach the interim GM role? That's a major question first to me before we talk about who's going to be a long-term successor. And to just come in here and suddenly start making trades. You're not, Anthony Davis, given everything he's been through, I know there's this clamor, let's trade AD and rebuild. You're not trading him at peak value. So, again, these are all hypotheticals in the extreme. But, I think we first have to get a handle on how realistic is the first step. How close are we to that? And that's very hard to it's been very hard to categorize because Patrick Dumont is still somewhat of a mystery. He's now been the owner for almost 2 years. It was late November of 23 that he struck the deal with Mark Cuban to buy the team. But, it's been almost 2 years, but he's still not a known quantity in terms of the way he does business. And I think what he's shown us to this point is he wants to be patient and he doesn't want to bow to all the noise, and he wants to give Nico a chance to fix this thing. That's what he's shown us to this point. How much longer it lasts, we're all trying to figure that out.
To Galkajan's point in the chat, he says something to the effect of, look, it doesn't matter. Losing with Nico versus losing without Nico feels different. And I think there's a lot of fans that feel that way, that they would just much rather remove the cloud hanging over this franchise proverbially and move forward without him and just, look, do the thing you have to do, what you have to do, and then figure out the rest from there.
Right. And that's kind of what I'm saying is that, like, that first step is so significant that, like, it's not like that happens and then boom, 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 all these, you know, like, it all just snaps together. Like, I think Ron's general point was right. I mean, I don't have the stats in front of me in terms of how often we've seen an in-season change at the GM level this early, but it's seeing, like, they've clearly, like, resisted that to this point. So, like, what's going to push them to that point? Again, it's not just super chatters asking this question. I mean, this is I get this from people around the league all the time too.
Let's quickly take care of our folks and head into overtime here on the DLLS Mavs postgame show. Thank you to all of you joining us in our television audience. The conversation continues over at alldlls.com with our DLLS Mavs postgame show as we finish up here with our national NBA insider Marc Stein as the Mavericks get the win tonight, 111-105 over the Washington Wizards to move to 3-7 on the year. Shahid with the $2 super chat. Musa Cisse sounds like luxury shampoo conditioner. It's a great super chat.
Yeah, that's great.
It's a great use of your $2.
Though, it does. I can't even lie. It does.
And in response to the GM talk, GM Ben says, shout out GM Ben. He says he could GM the hell out of the Dallas Mavericks. So there's some
respect.
He says, look, I hired Ron. Make me mad.
I appreciate the job.
GM. I mean, there you go. So
He's
Ben
right.
throwing in his name into the consideration, if you will, of changes.
Hey, GM Ben, in response to your chat comment, not if you tell me stuff.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Well, there's that. There is that. We appreciate all of you joining us here on our program tonight. Stein, any other news and notes catching your eye before we let you go on this Saturday night?
I think we've gone through it all.
I would say so. I will throw this one quick in there. Lakers got their ass kicked tonight by a shorthanded Hawks team by 21-22-102 on the road. So you just never know what could happen in this league on a night-to-night basis. That's why you got to come to play. You just never know what might happen. De'Aaron Fox made his season debut for the San Antonio Spurs. They got a win despite Trey Murphy III going off for 41-9. Tonight for the New Orleans Pelicans. Yeah, Trey Murphy went off tonight.
40 ball.
Yeah, and the Pelicans lost tonight.
Like Trey Murphy.
Trey Murphy can play, man. Yeah, Trey Murphy can play. Didn't show it that much in the game recently against the Mavericks, but yeah, Trey Murphy can play. He dropped 41 in a losing effort for the San Antonio Spurs. Martin the Polar Bear coming in with the buzzer beater super chat, the $5 super chat at the end of tonight's show.
The Bear.
Quit making it Nico fired equals Mavs improve. No, the point is he won't be able to hurt us anymore. No more panic trades like trading our 2026 pick, which that is the last pick that the Mavericks have control of for the next 5 years. It's the one that they got in 2026. And then there's no control over 27, 28, 29, and 30. The next time they'll have control over their pick is in 2031. So there you go. Mari, thank you so much for the time as always. Glad to have you back and look forward to having you back on the program on Monday when Charlie Saturday's Bucks come in to take on the Dallas Mavericks.
Yes, indeed. See you guys Monday. Like I said, I have a feeling we will all be in attendance, have a staff meeting over at the AAC.
For sure. For sure. Have a good weekend, Mark. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, guys.
That's our National NBA insider, Marc Stein. You can always dial up the Stein line at the Stein line. Appreciate our guy Prophet making us look good and sound good tonight. Thank you, sir, for pinch hitting for our guy Tanner. He'll be back next week as the Mavericks begin a 4-game homestand on Monday with the Milwaukee Bucks and Giannis Antetokounmpo. By the way, Bucks are going to be on the second night of a back-to-back themselves.
The Greek Freak.
On Monday. So we'll see if Giannis gets on the floor. They play on Sunday against what looks like is the Houston Rockets tomorrow. and then in Milwaukee, and then they'll be here in Dallas on Monday. So Rockets, Mavericks. The Mavericks will be on the second night of a back-to-back for the Milwaukee Bucks. Mavericks get it done tonight, 111-105 on the road over the Washington Wizards. Naji Marshall, 30 points in 31 minutes, gets it done in his home DMV area to give the Mavericks a win, a much-needed win for the morale of this group. They'll look to continue some better play and hopefully some better health coming up on Monday. That is our DLLS Mavs beat writer, Ron Harrod Jr. My name is Kevin Gray. We are DLLS Mavs. We will talk to you on Monday for our pregame show at 6:45 p.m. right here on DLLS Sports. Y'all enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll talk to you on Monday at 6:45 for the DLLS Mavs pregame show. Y'all be good. Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.